between the two parties' proposals as they are presently detailed. So it will be the attitude to the Northern Ireland plan that will make the difference. Both the Labour and Conservative parties have produced proposals on the economy in their manifesto. Neither have entirely satisfied independent economists about their deliverability. Both manifestos contain policies which could easily command our support, and both contain measures that will involve difficult decisions and choices. Though both parties have a different approach on areas such as deficit reduction, taxation and public expenditure, we believe that both of their manifestos represent a credible starting point for negotiations. Whether the deficit is eliminated entirely by 2017-18 or takes a little longer is not a red line issue for us. Whether there are changes to inheritance tax, the top rate of tax for high earners, or what rules should apply to so-called non-DOMs are matters that we will willingly discuss. Equally, we have set out the tests against which any further reforms to the welfare system would gain our support. In all of these, we remain committed to assessing any proposal in light of those that we have set out in the Northern Ireland plan. In the next 16 days, we need to take our message and our manifesto across Northern Ireland. There are constituencies not presently held by us that are within our grasp and which we could win with a few extra percentage points. That could potentially transform the arithmetic at Westminster for Northern Ireland. In a first past the post election such as this, voters should consider using their vote strategically. There is little value in voting for a party that cannot win and holds views which are similar to those of the DUP, if it means letting others with a very different outlook get through the back door. So use your vote to get the best Northern Ireland and the party for Northern Ireland. My message is simple. Let's grasp this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to put Northern Ireland at the centre of British politics. If you are committed to the Union and want a better and stronger Northern Ireland, then the DUP must be your party of choice. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Peter. And as the Economy Minister for Northern Ireland, I also want to, of course, thank Mark and his team here in Antrim and, of course, over in Ballymena as well, for all that they do for the economy here in Northern Ireland through innovation, through export growth and, of course, through employment as well. So thank you very much, Mark, for allowing us to come to your factory today. And now it is my great pleasure to introduce a colleague who will have and has had a significant role in the Parliament of our United Kingdom, the Deputy Leader of the Democratic Unionist Party and Parliamentary Leader of our team at Westminster, the Right Honourable Nigel Dodds.
Well, thanks very much indeed, Arlene, for that introduction. And party leader and colleagues and friends from the media, this election is like no other election in my experience. That's why this year our manifesto is more important than ever. Today we're publishing not just our manifesto, but in it we have, as Peter has outlined, incorporated our Northern Ireland plan, the basis for negotiations after the election. This combined document represents our commitment to the people of Northern Ireland and the basis on which we are seeking a mandate from the people. Everyone in this room and far beyond it know that the DUP will play a pivotal and powerful role after the election in Westminster. With the polls as they have been for months, with the Scottish National Party having effectively marginalised their influence since they've ruled out any deal with the Conservative Party, it's very likely that DUP members of Parliament will have that critical role in the next Parliament. There is a real opportunity to get what we need to make life better for Northern Ireland's hard-working people. That's what we're in the business of fighting this election for, to get the best for the people of Northern Ireland. Not for ourselves, not for the DUP, but for the people of Northern Ireland. Now, Peter has already set out the central economic tenets of our manifesto and the Northern Ireland plan that will seek to make Northern Ireland an economic powerhouse. I want to focus for a few minutes on the other 4 points of our Northern Ireland plan and the pledges we make in our manifesto. I want to set out not only what we will do at Westminster, but what we will do at home as well. First, we want to deliver world-class public services for our people. That means from Westminster after 5 years of sustained and deep cuts, the Democratic Unionist Party believes that any further significant reductions to frontline services in areas that affect Barnett consequentials, in other words, the money that comes to Northern Ireland as a consequence of spending decisions at Westminster, would be harmful. In order to deliver world-class public services for our people locally, we will, of course, continue to prioritise spending on health, education and growing the economy, set ambitious targets to cut wasteful spending, and reform the delivery of public services to ensure that they meet the needs and expectations of the people of Northern Ireland. We want, in addition, to create a society based on fairness and opportunity for everyone. That's the second key point of our Manifesto and Northern Ireland plan. That means from Westminster we want a national entitlement to enhanced support for members of the armed forces across the United Kingdom. We want a UK-wide definition of a victim, which excludes perpetrators. We want to ensure that economic migrants have contributed to the United Kingdom before they're entitled to claim benefits. We want proper border controls and tougher immigration controls. We want welfare reform which incentivises work and protects those in need. And we want the removal of the bedroom tax, not just here in Northern Ireland, but at a national level as well. Our manifesto sets out our belief that universal credit must be allowed to bed down to enable a proper evaluation of its impact. We believe that the best mechanism to reduce welfare spending is economic growth, getting those who can work into work. And we will assess any welfare proposal that comes forward from the Conservative or the Labour Party by the following 3 tests. Does it incentivise work? What protection does it provide for those in need? And what impact will it have upon the costs of administration? And let me make it clear today that as far as this party is concerned, proposals such as taxing disability benefits would fail such tests. The DUP supports, as Peter has said, the triple lock on the state pension, and we will oppose plans to means test the present universal benefits available for pensioners and our senior citizens. And in our manifesto, we set out proposals to encourage the new government to introduce, as one of the first pieces of legislation, a bill to tackle the scourge of psychoactive substances, or legal highs. We make it clear that the United Kingdom must retain its own strong, independent defence policy with sufficient resources dedicated to each of the services and the retention of an independent nuclear deterrent. We cannot afford to see the United Kingdom weakened, either at home or on the international stage. We stand up for our strong United Kingdom. In order to create a society based on fairness and opportunity for everyone locally, we will give additional support to those individuals and communities that need help. We will create an education system that guarantees a fair start and opportunity for every child. And we will continue to protect existing benefits for older people here under the control of the Northern Ireland Assembly, such as free bus passes. Now, the third key thing that we want to do in our Northern Ireland Plan and Manifesto is to make government and politics work better in Northern Ireland. So from Westminster, we will work to have legislation to reform the structure of government in Northern Ireland. We will work to ensure that there's a guaranteed place in the Cabinet for a Secretary of State for Northern Ireland to look after the interests of the province. We want an agreed guaranteed minimum level of representation from Northern Ireland in the House of Commons. And in order to make politics and government work better in Northern Ireland locally, we will work to provide for an official opposition at Stormont, advocate an end to the present divisive community designation arrangements in the Assembly, seek to persuade others to end the mandatory coalition government in Northern Ireland arrangements, and campaign, and we are the leading party campaigning on this, to cut the cost of government and reduce its size. We want to see allowances for those MPs who don't take their seats at Westminster taken away, and we want the reform of political donations to ensure that those who get foreign money channeled into their party coffers, that loophole and that iniquity comes to an end as well. We want to strengthen the United Kingdom and protect and enhance our British identity, the fourth major plank of our Manifesto and Northern Ireland Plan. What does that mean? It means that from Westminster we want protection in law for the official display of the Union flag and the symbols of our identity. It means that we want arrangements to ensure that Northern Ireland's perspective is taken into account across Northern Ireland, with direct access to decision makers in Whitehall. And let me make it clear, we want a renegotiation of the United Kingdom's role in Europe and an early referendum on the European Union. We are totally committed to the NATO target of spending 2% of GDP on defence. And we want legislation for a new way forward on parading here in Northern Ireland, which respects the fundamental rights of assembly. In our manifesto, we call for a review of anti-terrorism legislation to ensure that we are equipped for the existing threats. And we have also proposed a new charitable body to be established and resourced by the UK government to promote linkages between the four constitutional nations of the United Kingdom based on the model of Cooperation Ireland. And this organisation will be charged with promoting exchanges and linkages between schools, youth organisations and civic groups. In addition, it would have responsibility for promoting a national historical narrative for the United Kingdom and its global impact, including the contribution of its four constituent nations. We want to see the National Citizenship Service being further developed and remodelled to include a year-long youth development programme working in the four capital cities of the United Kingdom. Locally, to strengthen the United Kingdom and protect and enhance our British identity, we will work with other unionists here in Northern Ireland to maximise our power and influence at home and abroad. You can see in this election that we're already doing that in a number of constituencies. We will work to reduce Northern Ireland's economic dependence on Westminster. We will campaign to highlight the benefits of the Union to Northern Ireland and Northern Ireland to the Union. So friends, you will see that our manifesto is a combination of national and local matters bound together with the unifying principle of what is in the best interests of the United Kingdom as a whole. This manifesto and our Northern Ireland Plan is not written purely for the purposes of fighting an election to be forgotten about afterwards, but it will be the template for our negotiations that will follow and for the next 5 years in the next Parliament.